My GF19F thinks I 19M dislike her because of her small breasts. My GF has always been insecure about her breast size, her cups, and when she looked through my laptop, without my knowledge but we sorted out already, she found porn with girls with big breasts. Now she thinks I dislike her even though I really like her and don't care about her size and like her for who she is. But every time I try to tell her this she thinks I am lying. What do I do? Devour her titties, it's the only way. Watch small tit porn. You keep saying you don't mind that she has small breasts and not that you like them. If you do like them then you must show her that with actions and not just words. A lot of great comments here. I think you're making a mistake going down the don't care about her size and like her for who she is route. Your girlfriend wants to feel sexually desired and has the right to expect that her boyfriend of all people would sexually desire her. So do what the commenters here are saying, not with stupid words of liking her personality. Pay special attention to her breasts when you are intimate. True, it is a good sentiment in a vacuum, but it usually ends up sounding more like I love you in spite of this flaw you have, which definitely won't help her confidence. Woman with smaller chest here. I'm actually about to marry my fiance, who was a big tit guy before me. He shows he's into them casually when we're home together by grabbing a quick feel or paying attention to them when we're messing around. It's been great for my confidence in my body honestly. My advice is to use consistent repeated actions to show her you love her chest too, along with all parts of her. Words are cheap. My 31M wife, 36F, has lived in America for 5 years but it seems like she never left China. I met my wife, who speaks perfect English, in China about 8 years ago. We have lived together in the US for 5 years and she is convinced she wants to live here, have a family, house, and all of that. The problem is that she works at a Chinese company, only watches Chinese news, eats Chinese food, etc. Now with this big election coming up, she told me she didn't really know much about the candidates and didn't know why she should care. I was very upset and I told her that all of this affects our lives and she said me asking her to know what is going on in America feels like I'm giving her a homework assignment. She was even offended my parents were trying to talk to her about the election and get her views. Meanwhile, I spend 20 hours a week learning Chinese for her family, so I can understand them better and understand their shows. With my wife, it's not just politics. She doesn't follow anything happening in America unless it is covered in Chinese media. She couldn't even tell you what movie is out. I tried explaining that it is very lonely for me to not be able to have a conversation about anything that isn't China related and she said if it is important I should just tell her and then we can talk about it, but if I tell her, and she has no view on her own besides what I say, it's like I'm talking to myself. I'm trying to be understanding. But I'm at the point where I can't sleep thinking about this and I'm ready to go to marriage therapy. Does anyone have any advice before I have to go down that road? Marriage therapy isn't some sort of scary last resort step. It just helps couples to communicate better and the earlier you do it, the better off you will be. I would suggest going down that route and not looking at it as a failure but a step in the right direction. She might be homesick, and the food she eats shows she watching is probably comforting to her. Also, mind you that she used to live in China for basically her whole life before marrying you and in China you don't vote. So not having an interest in politics seems fair and not everyone is going to be interested in politics. Do you guys have common interest that you share that you guys can spend time doing together? Trying new hobbies together like cooking a meal from a recipe you found online and it doesn't have to be Chinese food. Marriage counseling sounds like a good idea and can help you guys build a more solid base for the marriage. To be fair, when I lived in Shanghai, way too many expats went the extra mile to avoid the local places and culture and moved in Anglo-centric circles. What Hop's wife is experimenting is very common for lots of expats and immigrants. He's only suffering it so much because they come from different countries. P.S. People do vote in China. TBH, a therapist probably has better input than strangers on the internet. In her defense, I have no idea if there are movies out. Is there a way to get over a fetish? I, 21F, have a fetish that I really hate. Basically, when I was younger, for years, my stepsister would have sex with my crush and lock me in the closet. I could still see them through the cracks, and hear them. Weirdly, it really turned me on. Since I've had this fetish where I think of my boyfriend having sex with my friend or another woman, that's the only thing that can make me orgasm. But afterward, the thought of him cheating makes me sad and almost repulsed by him. I just want to be able to orgasm without having to think of that. I've tried everything, but ultimately I go back to thinking of that. Is there really any way to stop it? You were abused by your stepsister. This was abuse. You need a professional. You experienced a traumatic sexual experience as a child. Even though it was visual and not physical, the psychological impact is still very real. I believe the only way for you to work through this is to find a therapist that deals in sex and intimacy. Never, ever, feel guilty or bad for your feelings. It is very normal considering what you experienced. Sincerely wishing you the best. This sounds like trauma. Right. What kind of messed up stepsister did she have? That's emotional abuse to the max. Have you tried therapy? I know what you mean, but mine's more because I'm a younger guy. I've thought about it. I'm not sure if normal therapy would work, or do you need a sex therapist? First, be kind to yourself. You are not a bad person for having a fetish or for wanting to get rid of it. Second, therapy. Lots of fetishes are born out of trauma. Find a therapist or sex therapist who treats sexual trauma.